Hey y'all, Texas Lizard here. So I've been putting off doing something for a long time. I bought a couple of new rods recently, and I didn't have rod sleeves for them. I didn't have covers. And threw them in my tubes, threw them in my truck. They got sloshed around, they got tangled up in all my others. So this weekend, 18-mile-an-hour winds. A little too much for kayaking. So what we're doing today is making more rod sleeves. Real easy. So if you've never done it before, follow along. First thing that you need is a fresh beer. Alright, now we're ready to make some rod sleeves. Other supplies: scissors, lighter, nylon tubing. This is 1-inch diameter. This will work good for all casting rods, but it will only cover about half of your spinning rods. So if you're a fan of spinning rods, I suggest getting 2-inch diameter. Braid and a needle. And needle nose pliers. So I've already done this on the end, because anytime you cut it off, this nylon tubing, you're always going to want to singe it with the lighter immediately, because otherwise it will unravel and cause you all kinds of hell. So one of the first things you'll do, and you'll always want to be sure that you singe the edges before you do this, is you flip the end of it inside out like this. You don't need very much hanging off. You know, I've only got, what, like half an inch here, maybe? Then you want a 5 to 6 foot, or sorry, 5 foot to 5.5 foot distance. And I'm 5'4", and that's about my wingspan too. So what I'll do is I'll just stretch it out. This is the end of my wingspan right here. So right where you pinch off where you want to cut it, this nylon tubing contracts a little bit, so you pinch it like that. Grab it tight with the needle nose. And this is going to prevent it from fraying right when you cut it, is this little squeeze process right here. So then we'll cut it off, and I will singe that off as soon as I'm done singeing the end here. But this end right here, this is going to be the end of the rod sleeve where the tip will butt up against it. So we want to melt that off. So melt it real good. Make sure that it sticks together real good. When you're doing the other end, it doesn't need to be completely sealed together. In fact, you don't want it sealed together because you want to be able to separate it so you can flip it inside out. But this end, you want it completely sealed off. So make sure that you apply a good amount of heat to it. Get it all sealed together. Don't do this at home. There we go. Alright, and now that it is singed, that's not going anywhere. See? So then, take our needle. Make sure that it's one with a decently large eye, unless you hate yourself. But whatever braid you've got hanging around is going to work for this. But this is just sewing the end up, just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. So first, you'll just bring 1.5 inches, 2 inches out through the eye. and just go around it just a little bit at a time. Take a decent amount of it. Go through each side. So in just like these little 1/8 inch increments at a time. I don't know if it's even that. It's probably smaller than that. But just simple sew job all the way around it. And get ready. Magic of film. This is about to be done before your very eyes. Alright, so I finished off my little sew job here, and now I'm just going to tie it off. And when you're sewing those, make sure you don't get them too close together, because if they're any closer together than this, it's going to, when you try to pull it tight, that little loop there is just going to slip right through the nylon. So you got to make sure that you get a decent amount of nylon in between it so that it doesn't pull out. So when I'm finishing it off, I'm just going to do like 3 overhand knots. So I'll pull my needle out of there. Two. One more should do it. Alright, so this should stretch just far enough to get over the guides on the rod. Cut off the tag ends. Here's my last unsleeved rod. Don't have a reel on this one. The reel is holding on to my lure knocker. But 5.5 feet will get you down to here. So the reel would be here. If I've got a, if I've got a worm hanging off it or something, it's going to be up a little bit more. So you always want to be sure that you give yourself a little room between where the sleeve ends and where the reel starts, so that whatever lure you've got hanging here, if you've got it, the hooks on the end of the reel, be sure that it gets room so that you can still slide it all the way up, because you want it to fit snug against the tip. And that's that. Right. So to get back to your starting point, I'm going to singe this just enough so that it doesn't fray when you pull it back next time, when you reel it, or when you bend it backwards for that entry point. Don't hold it together like you did for the tip end. So I'll demonstrate the difference between how a singed end works and what's going to happen if you don't singe it. Had a little bit of hard time flipping this one. There we go. Alright, so singed end flips real nice. Not much fraying. Alright, so if you don't singe it, this is what's going to happen. Look at that mess. You don't want that. Be sure to singe it. So hopefully that saves you a little bit of money. I know even if the rod sleeves are on sale, a 5-foot sleeve is like $6. You're looking at like $8 to $10 easy if they're not on sale. So, the sleeve material I'll link down there, but I mean, you can make these for like $1 to $2 a sleeve at the most. So, you save yourself a ton of money if you're just willing to put in a few minutes effort. But it's well worth it to protect those rods. If you've got them in tubes or if you've got them clanging around in your truck, protect those guides. And you also don't want to deal with the hassle of getting the lines tangled up when they're all jangling around together. But anyway, cheers, y'all. Tight lines.